Now in the next question, as you can see here, question number 115, in stratosphere, which of the following elements act as a catalyst in degradation of ozone and release of the molecular oxygen? Whether it is carbon, then iron, chlorine or oxygen. So we have very clearly discussed this in the chapter environmental issues. I hope you have remembered that. So which among them will be the correct answer? So for this, let's see the reactions which we have discussed in the chapter environmental issues. So chlorine is in option number 3. So option number 3 is the correct answer for this question. Alright. Now let's see the next question. So in the next question, as you can see here, what type of ecological pyramid would be obtained with the following data? Secondary consumer, that is 120 gram, then primary consumer, that is 60 gram, and the primary producer is the 10 gram. So this question comes from the chapter ecosystem, and you know how the trophic levels are arranged. So if you arrange this data, what you will observe? This is the primary producer. Primary producer is 10 gram. After that, you will get primary consumer, which is 60 gram. So that is the 60 gram. And after that, next is the secondary consumer, where its biomass is 120 gram, right? So this is the 120 gram. So after looking at this, what you can say? This is the inverted pyramid of biomass, right? And this 10 gram is actually of whom? It is of the primary producers, and the 60 gram is of the primary consumer, whereas the 120, I repeat, whereas the 120 gram is of the biomass, that is of the secondary consumer. So after looking at this data, what you can say? That this is the inverted pyramid of the biomass. So in which option it is given? It is given in the option number 1. So option number 1, it says that it will give inverted pyramid of the biomass. So option number 1 is the correct answer for this question. Now let's see the next question. In the next question, as you can see here, question number 117, the Golgi complex participates in fatty acid breakdown, respiration in bacteria, formation of secretory vesicles and the activations of the amino acid. So this question has directly come from the chapter cell, the unit of life, right? So we have got all the functions of the cell organelles, right? So Golgi complex, what is its function? It helps in the formation of the secretory vesicles which transform from its trans phase, right? Whereas the other option, that is the fatty acid breakdown, the respiration in bacteria, and the fourth option is the activation of amino acid, is not the correct function for this Golgi complex. So which among them is the correct option? That is the option number 3, formation of the secretory vesicle. So option number 3 is the correct answer for this question. Now let's see the next question. So in this question number 118, as you can see here, which of the following is not a product of light reaction of photosynthesis? So there are 4 options: ATP, NADPH, NADH or oxygens. So generally we have discussed this in the chapter photosynthesis in higher plants of class 11. So ATP, then in fact NADH and oxygen, they all take part in the light reaction, whereas NADH, it occurs in respiration process, not in the photosynthesis process, right? So the option number 3, that is NADH, is the correct answer for this question. So we can say that NADH is not a product of light reaction of photosynthesis because it takes place in the respiration process, right? Now let's see the next question. Now in the next question, as you can see here, question number 118, which among the following is not a prokaryote? Saccharomyces, nostoc, Mycobacterium, Oscillatoria. So we have discussed all about this organism in the chapter Cell, the Unit of Life. There we have discussed about the prokaryotic animals and the eukaryotic animals, right? So Saccharomyces, you know what is it? It is a eukaryotic organism. Whereas nostoc and Oscillatoria, these are the cyanobacteria. So nostoc and Oscillatoria, these are the what? Cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria means what? Blue-green algae, right? And the option number 3 is Mycobacterium. So with this name, you can say that this is the bacteria which is a prokaryote. So which among them is the eukaryotic organism? That is the option number 1, Saccharomyces. Saccharomyces is the scientific name of yeast, right? So yeast is what? Yeast is a eukaryotic organism and not a prokaryotic organism. So option number 1 is the correct answer for this question. Now let's see the next question. In the next question, as you can see here, question number 120, stomatal movement is not affected by temperature, oxygen concentration, light or carbon dioxide concentration. So this is a very easy question and we have already discussed the function of stomata in your lower classes and also in class 11 of the chapter Anatomy of the Flowering Plants. So which among them will be the correct answer for this question? That is the option number 2. Oxygen concentration does not affect the stomatal movement, whereas the temperature, light and the carbon dioxide concentration affect the stomatal movement by closing and opening their gut cells. Alright. So I hope you have remembered this. Now let's see the next question. So in this question number 121, as you can see here, which of the following is true for nucleus? First option is larger nuclei are present in dividing cells. Second option is it takes part in spindle formation. Third option is it is a membrane bound structure. And the fourth option is it is a site for active ribosomal RNA synthesis. So this question has directly come from the NCERT textbook of the chapter Cell, the Unit of Life. There we have discussed the nucleolus, right, which is present inside the nucleus, right. So what is the function of this nucleolus? Is it larger nuclei are present in dividing cells, or it takes part in spindle formation, or it is a membrane bound structure, or it is a site for active ribosomal RNA synthesis? So which among them will be the correct option for this? That is the option number 4 is the correct answer for this question, that it is a site for active ribosomal RNA synthesis. That means nucleolus is what? It is a active site for rRNA synthesis. Alright. Okay. Now let's move on to the next question. In the next question, as you can see here, question number 122, the stage during which the separation of paired homologous chromosome begin is pectine, dikinesis, diplotin or zygotine. So this is also a very easy question and it is from the chapter Cell Cycle and Cell Divisions. We have discussed about the mitosis cell division and the meiotic cell divisions, and in the meiotic cell division we have discussed that meiotic cell divisions take place in two ways that we call as meiotic 1 and meiotic 2, and there we have discussed the prophase 1 which is composed of 5 different stages, that is dikinesis, then diplotin, pectine, diplotin. Okay. So which among them will be the correct answer for this question? That is the option number 3, which says that diplotin is the stage in which there is a separation of the homologous chromosome. Have you remember what was the structure of the homologous chromosome? Homologous chromosome were bind with the synaptable complex, right? So, this synaptable complex get detached and it separates the two chromosomes into one chromosome. So, that separation of the homologous chromosome take place in which stage of the prophase 1? That will be the diplotin stage. Alright. Now, let us see the next question. Now, in the next question, as you can see here, question number 123, the two functional groups characteristics of sugars are hydroxyl and methyl, carbonyl and phosphate, carbonyl and methyl, or carbonyl and hydroxyls. So, we already know that sugar is what? Sugar is a carbohydrates, and what is the functional group that are present in them? That will be the carbonyl and hydroxyl. We have discussed the structure of sugar, that is the ribose sugar and deoxyribose sugar in the chapter molecular basis of inheritance while discussing the structure of DNA and RNA, right? So, which among them is the carbonyl and hydroxyl? That is the option number 4. Carbonyl and hydroxyl are the functional group which are the characteristics of sugars. And sugars, what does it mean? Sugar is a carbohydrates. So, this is a very easy question, right? Now, let us see the next question. In the next question, as you can see here, question number 124, stomata in grass leaf are dumbbell shaped, rectangular, kidney shaped or barrel shaped. So, this is also a very easy question, and we have got the different structure of the gut cells in the chapter anatomy of the flowering plants, and there we have discussed that monocotyledonous are the plants in which the gut cells are dumbbell shaped, whereas for the dicotyledonous plants these are of bean shape, right? So, in the case of dicots, the shape were bean shaped, right? And in the case of monocot it was dumbbell shaped. It looked like something like this, right? So, this is the monocot and this is the dicot. So, stomata in grass leaf, and grass leaf you know that is the monocotyledonous plants. So, which among them will be the right answer for this question? That will be the option number 1, that will be the dumbbell shaped cell of the gut cells. Okay. Now, let us see the next question. In this question number 125, you can see here which one of the following plants show a very close relationship with a species of moth where none of the two can complete its life cycle without the other: hydrilla, banana, yucca and viola. So, we have discussed very clearly in the chapter organisms and populations. There we have discussed about the mutualism, then amensalism, symbiotism, alright. I hope you have remembered those parts. So, the moth species are in close association with which organism? That will be the yucca plant. So, yucca plants are the one in which the moth cannot complete its life cycle without this plant. So, option number 3 is the correct answer for this question. Alright. Now, let us see the next question. In this question, question number 126, pollen grains can be stored for several years in liquid nitrogen having a temperature of minus 120 degrees Celsius or minus 196 degrees centigrade or minus 80 degrees centigrade or minus 160 degrees centigrade. So, this is a very easiest question of this paper. So, what is the answer? That is the option number 2. Option number 2, that is minus 196 degrees centigrade, and we have discussed in the chapter sexual reproductions in the flowering plants. There we have discussed about the male reproductive systems and the female reproductive systems of the flowering plants, and there we have seen that minus 196 degrees centigrade liquid nitrogen can be used for the storage of the pollen grains. So, option number 2 is the correct answer for this question. This is a very easy question, right? Now, let us see the next question. So, in this question number 127, as you can see here, double fertilization is fusion of the two male gametes of a pollen with two different eggs, fusion of two male gametes with one egg, fusion of one male gamete with two polar nuclei, or syngamy and triple fusion. So, this is from the chapter plant kingdom, and in class 10 also we have got about the double fertilization process, right? So, which among them will be the correct answer for this? Obviously, it is gonna be option number 4. In option number 4, it says that syngamy and triple fusion. In the syngamy, what happens? One male gamete fuse with one egg cell, right? And that process is called as syngamy, and another male gamete fuse with two polar nuclei which is present in the central cell, right? So, that is called as the triple fusion. So, since there is two fertilization occur, one male gamete, the answer is syngamy, another male gamete, it forms the triple fusion in which it forms the primary endosperm nucleus. So, double fertilization is syngamy and triple fusions. So, I hope it is very clear with you. Now, let us see the next question. In the next question, as you can see here, oxygen is not produced during photosynthesis by green sulfur bacteria, Cycas, nostoc or Cara. So, this is from the chapter photosynthesis in higher plants that we have discussed in class 11, right? So, which among them is the correct answer for this question? That is the option number 1. Green sulfur bacteria, in which it forms the cyclic phosphorylation. In the cyclic phosphorylation, oxygen is not produced. Oxygen not produced by this bacteria, that is the green sulfur bacteria. Alright. So, I hope it is very clear with you, and I hope you have remembered the chapter very well. Now, let us move on to the next question. So, in this question number 129, as you can see here, which of the following element is responsible for maintaining turgor in cells? Magnesium, potassium, sodium or calcium. So, this is directly from the NCERT book of the chapter mineral nutritions. There we have discussed all the different types of nutrients and their functions. So, which among them is the correct answer for this question? That is the option number 2. So, potassium is the element which maintains the turgidity of the cells. Along with this, it also involved in protein synthesis, then cation anion balance of the cell, and for the closing and opening of stomata. So, these are the other function of this element potassium. So, option number 2 is the correct answer for this question. Now, let us see the next question. So, in this question number 130, it says that what is the role of NAD+ in cellular respiration? Is it function as an enzyme? It is a nucleotide source for ATP synthesis, or it is a function as an electron carrier, or it is the final electron acceptor for anaerobic respiration. So, this is from the chapter respirations in higher plants. So, in that chapter we have discussed the role of this NAD+. So, what is its role? It helps in the transport of the electrons from one carrier to another carrier. So, what is its function? Which among them is the correct option for this question? That is the option number 3. It functions as an electron carrier. Alright. Now, let us see the next question. In this question number 131, in which of the following forms is iron absorbed by plants? Is it ferric, free element, ferrous or both ferric and ferrous? So, according to NCERT textbook of the chapter mineral nutritions, there it is written that ferric is the answer. But in actually, the plant absorbs the iron in both the forms of ferric and the ferrous ion. That means both Fe2+ and Fe3+. But since it is given in your NCERT textbook that Ferric is the form of the element of the iron which is absorbed by the plants. So, option number 1 is the correct answer for this question. And where we have discussed this? We have discussed in the chapter Mineral Nutrition. In the next question, as you can see here, question number 132, winged pollen grains are present in mustard, mango, cycas or pinus. So, this is also a very easy question and it is from the chapter Plant Kingdom. There we have discussed all about the life cycle of gymnosperm. So, in the pinus, they have the pollen grains which are wing shaped. So, option number 4 is the correct answer. So, in this question number 133, as you can see here, what happens after karyogamy, which is followed by meiosis? Spores are produced exogenously in Neurospora, Agaricus, Alternaria or Saccharomyces. So, while discussing the 5 kingdom classification system which was given by R.H. Whittaker, we have discussed about the kingdom fungi and all the different types of it like Basidiomycetes, Ascomycetes, Deuteromycetes, right? So, which among them is the example in which the spores are produced exogenously? So, the option number 2, Agaricus is the example which after karyogamy followed by meiosis, the spores are produced exogenously, whereas the other option, that is Neurospora then Alternaria, they produce by endogenously, right? And the Saccharomyces, they do not produce any spores in their sexual reproductions. So, option number 2, that is Agaricus, is the right answer for this question. Now, let us see the next question. So, in the next question, as you can see here, question number 134, which one is wrongly matched? Uniflagellate gametes match with Polysiphonia, Gamma cups is with Mercantia, biflagellate zoospores with the brown algae, unicellular organism with the chlorella. So, from this question you have to tick the wrongly matched pair. So, which among them will be the wrongly matched pair? That is the option number 1. So, in option number 1, it says that uniflagellate gametes take place in the Polysiphonia. And Polysiphonia, what is it? It is the rhodophyceae, that means red algae. And where we have got this term? We have got this term while discussing the chapter Plant Kingdom, right? So, option 1, that is uniflagellate gametes take place in the Polysiphonia, is the incorrectly matched pair. So, option 1 is the correct answer for this question, alright. Now, let us see the next question. So, in this question number 135, match the items given in column 1 with those in column 2 and select the correct options which are given. So, first column, it says that herbarium, it is a place having a collection of preserved plants and animals. Key, then museum, then catalog, these are all given in column 1, and in the column 2 all the definitions of these terms are given. So, it is a very easy question and we have discussed this in the chapter The Living World of class 11, that is the first chapter, right. So, after matching the column 1 with column 2, what is the definitions of herbarium? You know that very clearly. It is a place where dried and pressed plants and specimens mounted on sheath, which are called as herbarium sheaths, are kept, and the key, which is a list that enumerates methodology all the species found in an area with brief descriptions aiding identification, and the definitions of the museum, which means it is a place having a collection of preserved plants and animals, and catalog, it is a booklet containing a list of characters and their alternates which are helpful in identification of various taxa. So, these are the options given. So, which among them is the correct answer? That is the option number 3, alright. Okay. Now, let us see the next question. So, in this question number 136, you can read as, which of the following is an amino acid derived hormone? Epinephrine, estradiol, ecdysone, estriol. So, which is from the chapter Chemical Coordinations and Integrations. So, the amino acid derivatives, the hormone is epinephrine. So, which among them is the correct answer? That is the option number 1. So, epinephrine is a kind of hormone which is derived from amino acid derivative. Alright. Now, let us see the next question. So, in this question number 137, you can say which of the following structure or region is incorrectly paired with its functions. So, here you have to tick the incorrectly paired functions. So, medulla oblongata, that controls the respirations and cardiovascular reflexes. Next is hypothalamus. There the function is productions of releasing hormones and regulations of temperature, hunger and thirst. Option number 3 is limbic system, and their function is it consists of fiber tracts that interconnect different regions of the brain, controls movement. That is incorrect option. And option number 4 is corpus callosum, that is the bands of fibers connecting left and right cerebral hemisphere. So, this is from the chapter neural control and coordinations. We have got all these terms along with their function. So, which among them is incorrectly matched? That is of the option number 3, that is limbic system. Limbic system, what does it do? It helps in all the emotional activities of our body. So, their function will be emotion. That means it controls the emotions, right? So, limbic system, their function is to controls the emotions. But here in this question it is written that it consists of fibers that interconnect different regions of the brain and controls movement, whereas their function is not to control any kind of movement. So, this is the correct option for this question. Alright. Now, let us see the next question. In the next question, as you can see here, the transparent lens in the human eye is held in its place by ligaments attached to the ciliary body, smooth muscle attached to the iris, or ligaments attached to the iris, or smooth muscle attached to the ciliary body. So, this is also from the chapter neural control and coordinations. So, which among them is the correct answer for this question? That is the option number 1, ligaments attached to the ciliary body, which says that the transparent lens in the human eye is held in its place by ligaments attached to the ciliary body. We have already discussed the structure and function of eye and ear, right? So, option 1 is the correct answer for these questions. Now, let us see the next question.